Hello all, welcome to the chapter Heredity and Evolution. In my previous video, we have discussed certain basic things which are very important to understand the genetics, that is the study of heredity, right? And those terms, meanings are very important to understand to learn about the Mendel's experiment. Clear? And in this video, we are mainly talking about the Mendel's experiment. Through his experiment, Mendel has given certain law in case of genetics, and that particular law is called as law of inheritance. Clear, everybody? Say, let us try to note it down. Mendel gave a law through his experiments. Okay, through his experiments. I told you he has done experiments with garden pea plant. Anyway, we are going to learn that experiment now. Just try to understand this before learning that. Say he gave a particular law through his experiment, and this law is actually called as law of inheritance. This is called law of inheritance. This particular law includes three principles, guys. How many principles? Three principles. Clear? Those principles are the law of segregation, second one is law of dominance, and the third most law is law of independent assortment. Okay, say we are going to learn about these laws during the experiment only. Clear? So this is what the three principles together we call it as law of inheritance. The entire genetics is based on this particular basic law. Yeah? And now let us learn about the Mendel's experiment with garden pea plant. Now we are learning Mendel's experiment with garden pea plant. See, during the course of learning the experiment, we will come across these laws also. So, meanwhile, actually, we are studying these laws along with the experiment. Clear? So, Mendel's experiment with garden pea plant. What he has done is, he brought a crossing between two pea plants. Okay, what do you mean by crossing here? Crossing in the sense mating. Okay, say he has brought a cross pollination. He did a cross pollination between the two plants. So you all know what do you mean by cross pollination, isn't it? That means pollen grains from one plant is shifting to the pistil of another plant. Yes or no? This is what we mean by cross-pollination. Yeah? Female flowers are there in one plant, male flowers are there in another plant. So pollen grains from male plant is actually moving to the pistil of female flower of another plant. Clear? This is what we mean by cross-pollination. So such a mating is actually called as crossing also. Right? So what he has done is, he did crossing. We call that mating or pollination as crossing between two pea plants. Okay, and usually there are two types of crosses, guys. Okay, say write down two types of crosses. First one is monohybrid cross. Second one, dihybrid cross. Dihybrid cross. In this particular video, we are going to discuss entire details about the monohybrid cross. Okay, so let us start learning what is that monohybrid cross. See, monohybrid cross is nothing but cross between two plants, where only one contrasting character is studied. Okay, we have learned that there are 7 contrasting characters in garden pea plant, isn't it? Seed shape is one character. Here seed shape can be round or wrinkled, right? And height of a plant is another character, where height can be tall or dwarf. See, contrasting in the sense what, guys? Opposite. Okay, say contrasting characters in the sense opposite. See, dwarf or tall, right? Together can be one character, that is height character, right? Say here Mendel mainly studied about only one character. He concentrated only one character, either height or seed shape or seed color. He did not study all the characters together. Clear? He concentrated only about one character initially. He started noticing how the character is actually flowing or passing from one generation to another generation. See, the heredity or passage of only one character, studying about the passage of only one character from one generation to another generation is what we study. Such a study we call it as monohybrid cross. Okay, so we are crossing two garden pea plants where we are actually observing the changes in only one character. We are not concentrating all the 7 characters. We are mainly focusing on only one character. So such a study is called as monohybrid cross. Okay, and here which character did Mendel select? He selected the character called height. Okay, he started studying about height, how this character is passing from parents to children, right? So this is what he studied with garden pea plants in case of monohybrid cross. Clear? And let us see how he studied. He took 2 garden pea plants and he did cross pollination between them. Okay, say 2 plants he took, and among the 2 plants, one was tall plant. Okay, he crossed this tall plant with short plant. Short plant, that is nothing but dwarf plant. Okay, and the genotype of tall plant was capital T, capital T. He crossed with small t, small t. Okay, so this is the genotype of a short plant. This is a genotype of tall plant. You all know what do you mean by genotype, isn't it? Say, for example, tall plant, it has a set of chromosomes. Say this is the chromosomes of tall plant, where this chromosome has this area as a gene, this chromosome has this area as a gene, and both of them are actually talking about which character, guys? Both of them are talking about height character. Okay, but this is a different form of a gene. Both are talking about height only, but this chromosome is having the information relating to tallness, and this chromosome is also having an information related to tallness, right? And in the last class we actually studied each character is controlled by 2 alleles, 2 forms of gene, 2 contrasting gene. Yes or no? So this point you shouldn't forget, guys. I repeat once again, each character, that is height is the character here, but to tell whether a plant is tall or short is decided by both the forms of a gene. Yes, the gene present in this chromosome as well as the gene present in this chromosome. By observing both the contrasting genes, both the forms of a gene, you can able to tell whether a plant is tall or dwarf. Yes or no? So like that, this is what, this way of representing both the forms of a gene on both the chromosome is what we call it as genotype. Isn't it? All this we discussed in the last class in detail. So now I'm not going into the topic too much. Right? So genotype of this plant is capital T, capital T. Genotype of short plant is small t, small t. Okay? And now these guys will produce gametes. Yes or no? This is the genotype of a normal cell. Okay? And these plants, what do they produce? Produce gametes. Gamete of this plant has to combine with the gamete of this plant. Yes or no? During the formation of gametes, now gametes are forming. Okay, gamete can take either this particular allele or gamete can take this particular allele. Yes or no? Gamete will have only half of the genes. That also we discussed in the last class. Right? See, this is one chromosome, this is one chromosome. But the gamete, okay, the gamete can have either this gene or this gene. Two possibilities are there. It's not that two gametes are formed. It's like I am telling you the possibilities. Okay, say gamete can take this allele or gamete can take this allele. Clear? In the same way, here also two different types of gametes can be formed. Either gamete can take this allele or gamete can take this allele. Yes or no? Actually here homozygous condition. Homozygous means what? Same type of alleles are there. Both the case homozygous condition only. But during the gamete formation, gamete can have only half the gene. It cannot take both of them. Gametes will have only half the number of chromosomes. Yes or no? Either this chromosome can be taken, enter into a gamete, or this chromosome would be there in a gamete. Okay? Two possibilities are possible. Here also two possibilities. Right? And this is what actually we call it as law of segregation, guys. So just starting I mentioned you, there are three laws, three different principles. Yes or no? One was law of segregation, the other one is law of dominance, the third one is law of independent assortment. These are the three basic principles given by Mendel, I told. You know, here comes the first principle, guys. Okay, so what is the first principle, you know? He said that, you know, each character is controlled by two alleles, or two alleles are nothing but two different forms of gene. Yes or no? Two contrasting genes. Yes or no? So here height, the character called height of this plant is controlled by the two alleles. Okay, so both of them together is actually telling whether a plant is tall or short. Okay, so two alleles are actually necessary to tell about a particular character. What is a character here? Height. Height is always controlled by two alleles in every plant. Right? And these alleles or these contrasting genes, two forms of genes, will be separated during gamete formation. Okay? So, comma, these alleles or contrasting genes will be separated during gamete formation. You know, this is what we call it as law of segregation. Okay, so here he gave principle, that is law of segregation. So this is actually a rule or a principle given by Mendel. Okay, so whenever a gametes are forming from this particular genotype, gamete can either have this allele or gamete can either have this allele, not both, because gametes are the one which will have only half the genes, half the number of chromosome, isn't it? So two possibilities are possible. Here also two possibilities of gamete formation is possible. Okay, say this is what you have to represent as gamete formation. And next, and these gametes, when they combine only, you will get a new plant or a zygote is formed. Okay, and four possible gametes are seen here, yes or no? So these two gametes are from this plant and these two possibilities are from this plant. And how they can combine, guys? Either this particular gamete can combine with this, right? And the zygote can have a genotype what? Capital T, small t. Yes or no? The gamete having this gene is combining with the gamete having this gene. Right? Imagine this is one chromosome, this is one chromosome. Baby will have a set now. This chromosome combines with this chromosome. This chromosome has a gene T. This chromosome has a gene T. So what is the pair of chromosomes present in a zygote, guys? Relating to a character height, that is capital T, small t. Yes or no? And this T can combine with this T also. And in the zygote, what is the genotype you will find? Capital T, small t, right? In a similar way, this T can combine with this T. You can have capital T, small t. This T can combine with this T. You can have capital T, small t, right? So these are the four possible baby plants you can get, right? This is the genotype of a baby plant, guys. This gamete is combining with this gamete, baby is forming, it is having a genotype capital T, small t, relating to which character? Height character. Okay, so if you find this way of writing difficult, you can predict the baby kid's genotype in other way also. Okay, it is by drawing checkerboard, or we will also call it as Punnett square. Okay, see, just possibilities, permutations and combinations I have done here. Okay, possibilities I have shown. If you are feeling this way of writing, this way of predicting possibility difficult, I am going for another easiest method. What you have to do is capital T, capital T. These are the gametes from this plant, no? Just show like this, T, T. Okay, gametes of this plant is small t, small t. You know, right here, small t, small t. Just put a box. Join them, T, T. This T, join it with this T. This T, join it with this T. Small t, capital T. And here, small t, capital T. This T, join it with this. Small t, capital T. Okay, you can write capital T first, small t later. However way, it is same only. Okay, however way you can write. Say here I wrote capital T first, small t later. But in the Punnett square I have shown small t first, capital T later. Both the ways are same only. Genotype is what? Capital T, small t. One capital T you have, one small t you have. Right? So this is another way of predicting the possibility. Okay, and this is what we call F1 generation. Okay, F1 generation. F1 generation. Okay, or first filial generation. First filial generation. F in the sense filial. Filial in the sense kids. Offspring is also called as filial. Okay, so you can go for predicting this way, or you can draw a Punnett square, or this is also called checkerboard. Okay, this way also you can predict. So you will get 4 different plants, guys, but all the 4 plants has a same genotype. Yes or no? All the 4 plants have same genetic information, capital T, small t, capital T, small t. Okay, don't get confused here. This way of showing possibility and this way of showing possibility is same. Whichever is easy, that you can follow. Okay, so most of them in the 10th grade will follow by drawing Punnett square only, because it is much easier. What you have to just do, mention the gametes of one plant one side, gametes of another plant one side, join them, combine them and show the genotypes in the boxes. Okay, so 4 plants you are getting. This is one plant, this is second plant, third plant, fourth plant, same, this same. Okay, so 4 plants you are getting having same genotype and having same phenotype also. Phenotype in the sense what? Their physical appearance. Okay, and here all the plants are actually tall plants. You see here, parental generation, parents, one tall plant crossed with a short plant. But you see, all the kids are tall only. Observe one thing here. All the kids, all the plants in F1 generation are tall plants having a genotype capital T and small t. Okay, so let us try to write that point now. See, let us write what is the phenotype and genotype observed in F1 generation here. See, what you have observed is all plants are tall. It's very surprising that when one tall plant was crossed with a short plant, you know, none of the plants were short. You did not even get a single plant short, guys. So that is so much surprising for Mendel. Okay, he got all tall plants. Okay, and you know, all have a genotype capital T small t. Yes or no? All have a genotype capital T small t. Say that means from this what he concluded is that among the 2 genes of a new plant, maybe one of the gene is more dominant. The gene which is more dominant is getting expressed in the baby generation or future generation. Isn't it? That is what has happened here. See the new plants. They also have a gene for dwarfness. Yes or no? All baby plants actually have a gene for dwarfness, guys. Small t is there, but still they are not short. It may be because this capital T gene is more expressive. It is more dominant. He called that gene as dominant gene. Okay, so dominant gene will get expressed more in the future generation. That's the reason, you know, all plants are tall here. Okay, and what is their genotype? It is capital T, small t. Okay, so this is what the first generation we have got. Now what he has done is, he took these plants as the parents. Okay, whatever plants he has got, no, 4 varieties of plants, all the varieties are same. Actually, all are tall, all have a genotype, capital T, small t, right? So these things he has taken as a parents to get one more generation. Okay, so this is our first filial generation. Now, so we are going to see the plants of the next generation, that is F2 generation, right? So for F2 generation, who are the parents, guys? So these are the parents. Now, he has done a self-pollination between these plants. Clear? Fine. So what are the gametes here? What are the gametes? Yes, gamete can have this T, this allele as a gene, and the gamete can also have this T, right? Say among the 2 genes, only one will go to the gamete, either capital T or small t. Similarly here, what are the gametes? Capital T and small t, right? And now just check the various possibilities of F2 generation, the next generation plants. Let us take the help of Punnett square, right? Anyway, this is, I think, quite confusing to make out the possibilities. We will go with the easiest thing, that is by drawing Punnett square. Let us make out the possibilities of plants that we will get it in F2 generation. Okay, so how to do a Punnett square? Gametes of this plant, capital T, small t, right here, capital T, small t, box, like this. Now gametes of this plant, capital T, small t. Okay, combine gamete, these two gametes. What you will get? Capital T, capital T. Both capital T, capital T. This plant actually you will get as a tall plant. Okay, and now capital T, small t. This is also you got it as a tall plant because capital T is there. No, this is the dominant gene. Usually dominant one only will get expressed, right? Since this dominant gene is there, this plant is also tall. Though it has a gene for shortness or dwarfness, this plant will grow out as a taller plant. Okay, and here T, capital T, small t. So this is also a tall plant. Small t. You know, both are the recessive ones. There is no dominant gene. Yes or no? So this plant will grow out as a dwarf plant. So here can you make out how many tall plants and how many dwarf plants you got? You actually got 3 tall plants. You got 3 tall plants and 1 dwarf plant. 1 dwarf. Actually, this is what we call phenotypic ratio. Phenotypic ratio. So what is the phenotypic ratio, guys? 3:1. Okay, 3:1. So here 3 plants are tall and 1 plant is dwarf. Okay, 3 plants are tall, 1 plant is dwarf. This is what we call phenotypic ratio. That means 75% of the plants are tall, 25% of the plants are dwarf. Okay, and what is the genotypic ratio? Genotypic ratio, I'll show it here. Genotypic ratio. Okay, say capital T. Okay, 1 plant has a genotype capital T. 2 plants have a genotype capital T, small t. Yes or no? So 2 capital T, small t is to 1 plant has a genotype small t. That means 1:2:1 is the genotypic ratio. That means how many different types of genotypes you got? 1:2:1. That means among the 4 plants, 1 plant has a genotype capital T. 2 plants has a genotype capital T, small t, and 1 plant has a genotype small t. Okay, so you must able to remember phenotypic ratio and genotypic ratio of monohybrid cross. That is important, guys. Okay, what is the phenotypic ratio of monohybrid cross? 3:1. What? 3 tall plants, 1 dwarf plant. That means 75% tall, 25% short plants. Genotypic ratio is 1:2:1. Clear? Fine. And what are the observations and conclusions that you can give out of this monohybrid cross? I'll mention. See here, in the F1 generation, all plants are tall. F1 generation, all plants are tall and all of them have a genotype capital T, small t. Right? And all plants have a gene for dwarfness. Yes or no? All plants have a gene for dwarfness, but they are tall here. That means if any one of the copy of dominant gene is there, then the plant will grow out as a tall plant. Okay, so the plant, whether it has to grow as a tall plant or dwarf plant, depends on the dominant gene. Okay, among the 2 gene, 1 will be dominant. If that dominant gene is there, it will suppress the recessive gene and it will get expressed more. That's the reason you got all tall plants. But in the F2 generation, if you see, some amount of shorter plants also you got. Okay, in the F1 generation, this gene for dwarfness has not expressed. But in the F2 generation, it is getting expressed. Okay, in the F1 generation, this gene for dwarfness is hidden. It is hidden. It did not get expressed itself. But in the F2 generation, it is not hidden. It expressed itself and few of the plants are also dwarf. right? And very few plants actually. Out of 4, only 3 plants are tall and only 1 plant is dwarf. Okay, very few number of plants are dwarf, but dwarf plant you got it. You did not get all tall, right? So what you can conclude from this experiment, actually Mendel gave that law of dominance. Okay, see, the first principle is law of segregation. He gave it during gamete formation. Yes or no? What he said, the 2 alleles will get separated during gamete formation, he said. And the next law of dominance also is given out of this experiment only. Okay, see, though you have a gene for dwarfness, all plants are tall because this particular gene, that is capital G, you know, this must be more powerful. That's the reason it has dominated over the small t and it got expressed in the generation. So all plants were tall. This is what the conclusion he gave out of this experiment. Okay, and now let us list out all the observations and conclusions of monohybrid cross. Later we will go for certain problems and questions that can be asked on this topic. The observations that we can list out on monohybrid cross is, say, all plants in F1 generation, what did you observe? All plants in F1 generation are tall. Yes or no? This is one thing you observed. And in the F2 generation, what you have observed? 75% of plants are tall and 25% of plants are dwarf. 3:1 ratio. Yes or no? So what is the phenotypic ratio? What is the phenotypic ratio? In case of F1 generation, it is 3:1, right? Out of 4, 3 plants are tall, 1 plant is dwarf. Okay, and what is the genotypic ratio? Genotypic ratio, it is 1:2:1. Okay, 1 plant was having a gene capital T, 2 plants had capital T, small t, and 1 plant was having small t, right? So these are the observations that can be made out of monohybrid cross experiment. Now, from these observations, what Mendel has concluded. So let us study the conclusions also. Conclusion in the sense, so what we have learned, what we have got to know out of this observations and experiment. What we have got to know was the plants having a genotype, capital T and capital T small t were tall. Okay, and plants that were having a genotype small t was dwarf. This is one thing we can conclude. Okay, and second important point is a single copy of capital T is enough to make a plant tall. Yes or no? See here, both the copies are capital T, so plant is tall. It's a natural thing. Everybody can predict that. But the plants which are having 1 copy for dwarfness and 1 copy for tallness, you know, those plants also were grown out as a taller plant. That means what you can conclude? A single copy of T is enough, you know, to make a plant tall. That means T is a dominant gene. T is a dominant gene. Okay, and through this Mendel gave law of dominance. Mendel gave, what is the law? Law of dominance. So what does the law of dominance tell you guys? Law of dominant means out of two alleles, controlling a single character. Yes or no? Single character. What is that? Height. Height is controlled by two alleles, right? Out of the two alleles, one is dominant. One allele will always be dominant, and that dominant gene or allele, will get expressed in a future generation. Okay, so this is what the conclusion of the monohybrid cross. Okay, so if you have a single copy of dominant gene, okay, in a particular plant, then that copy is enough to make the plant grow as a taller plant. You know, this is what we call law of dominance, right? So now let us go for some questions based on monohybrid cross, like how they ask. You know, the questions will be, they will tell you which gene is dominant and which gene is recessive. Okay, and they'll ask what will be the nature of babies in F1 generation or F2 generation. You know, this is how they ask. Let us go for the question. See the first question, guys. Look at the question properly and try to understand. Actually, in a question, they will mention which is a recessive gene and which is a dominant gene. Based on that, you have to give the answers, okay, by doing a small workout. Clear? See here, the gene for brown color hair is recessive. Okay, I'll write here. Brown hair is recessive. Okay, and gene for brown color hair is recessive over a gene for black color hair. That means black hair is dominant. Yes or no? If brown hair is recessive, black hair is dominant. Okay, so this is the given information in a question. Clear? Now what they are asking, what is the hair color of a baby who got a gene from a mother with brown hair and father with black hair? Okay, so you have to predict the hair color of a baby, right? So the baby has a father, and father was having what color hair? Father is having black hair. Okay, and mother is having which hair? Mother is having a brown hair. Okay, so among black and brown, which is dominant and which is recessive? Black is dominant, brown is recessive, no? Yes or no? Then obviously whichever gene is dominant, that only will get expressed in the future generation, right? So which is a dominant gene here? Black. So the baby will definitely get a black color hair. Yes? See, always remember guys, whatever the gene is dominant, no, that dominant gene is shown maybe in the father or mother. Okay? The dominant gene only will get expressed in the future generation. Since black is dominant, the baby will get a black hair only, right? Say we can do a cross and say that also. Just by looking at the question, you can directly write the answer that baby will have a black hair because gene for black hair is more dominant. Dominant gene get expressed in a baby. You know, this is how you can finish off the answer if it is asked for 1 mark. Okay, you can put the cross and show also. Say for example, black hair is dominant. No, black, I'll take capital B, I'll write. Okay, so this is the genotype of father, right? And you know what is the genotype of mother? Mother is having a brown hair. Recessive means small b, I'll write for brown, right? So what are the gametes formed here? The gamete of a father may have this allele, or gamete of the father may have this allele. Similarly, mother's gamete can be small b or small b. Do a cross, Punnett square you can put b, gametes of father b, right? Gametes of mother, here you write, down you write. Gametes of father, on top you write. Mother's gamete, small b, right? Combine capital B, small b. If you combine these two gametes. If you combine these two gametes, capital B, small b. If you combine these two gametes, capital B, small b. If you combine these two gametes, capital B, small b. So, you see the chances, you know, say you have a genotype of a baby as capital B, small b. Okay, you have a dominant gene. What is that? Capital B. Capital B is nothing but black hair. Okay, so definitely since capital B is more dominant, baby will show black hair. Okay, black hair is observed. Black hair is observed in baby. Okay, why? Because you see the genotype of a baby, all four possibilities are capital B, small b only, right? Say all the chances, 100% chances are there to get a black hair only. Clear? Because black is dominant. But he has a gene for brown hair. Gene is there. In his genotype, there is a gene for brown hair. But his hair will appear as black only. Because father is having black hair. Whereas black hair type of gene is more dominant. That's the reason he is getting black hair. But his children, the baby's children, have a chance of getting black hair. Sorry, brown hair. Isn't it? Since he has a genotype for brown hair also, his babies, in the second generation, you have a chance of getting brown hair. Clear? Anyway, that is not necessary. What is the question? Baby's hair is of what type? Baby's hair is, you know, the black type, because black is a dominant gene. It will only get expressed in the baby. Okay, but genotype, if you see, the baby has a genotype, capital B, small b. He has a gene for brown. This he got it from father. This he got it from mother. Right? But his hair physically looks black because capital B is more dominative. Father's gene is more dominative here than mother's gene. So his hair will appear as black. But he has both genes in him. Right? So this is what we call genetics. This is how you have to answer the question. Okay? Say, always remember, question they will mention which is dominant and which is recessive. Okay, only thing you must know that the gene which is dominant only will get expressed in the baby or future generation. This point if you know, you can easily predict the answer, right? But if it is asked for 1 mark straight away, black hair you can mention. But if it is asked for 2 mark, this workout you have to show. Okay, you must be familiar in doing this workout, guys. Father, mother, father, black hair, like 2 alleles you have to show. Gene in the sense 2 forms of genes will be there, no? 2 alleles. So since he has a black hair, imagine that both alleles are of same, black baby. Mother's, small b, gametes. Then Punnett square you do, genotype of a baby you show. Okay, here 100% chances of having a hair color in baby is black only. Because you see all genotypes are BB. It is not that they are getting 4 children. Okay, these are 4 possibilities, guys. Okay, say 100% chances are there to get black hair in the baby. This is what is telling us. Okay, fine. And coming to the next question. Here they gave some sequence. You just have to predict which is a dominant gene and which is a recessive gene here. Okay, say something they give. Violet flower, plant with violet flower has crossed with plant with white flower. In the F1 generation, you got all violet flowered plants only. Okay, Got to know? That means what you can understand, guys, which is a dominant gene. Violet colored flower is a dominant gene. Violet color is a dominant gene. Yes or no? You know what is the question they asked here? Which is a dominant gene? This is the question they asked. Here only, looking at the F1 generation kids, you can say that which is dominant and which is recessive, right? See, plant with violet color flower has fused with plant with white color. But in the F1 generation, all plants were having violet flowers. That means gene responsible for violet color is more dominant. That's the reason F1 generation all violet you got. F2 generation also they mentioned. In the F2 generation, you got among the 4 plants, 3 plants were having violet flowers, whereas 1 plant was having white flower. Just like the monohybrid cross experiment we have done relating to height. This is relating to flower color. That's it. Okay. So this completely shows that which is a dominant gene. Definitely violet. Violet is a dominant gene. This is the answer. That's it. They might ask you why violet, why you are telling that violet is a dominant gene. You can give the answer. It is because in F1 generation, if we observe, all plants were having violet. In F2 generation also, 75%. See, out of 4, 3 plants were having violet flower means 75% were having violet flowers. Just 25% were having white. That is what? 3:1 ratio. Right? So definitely in F2 generation, by looking at F2 generation also, we can say that violet is a dominant gene. Okay? By looking at both the generation, we can conclude that violet is a dominant gene. Yeah? Fine. And this is a homework for you. Carefully think and answer. Right? I'll read out the question. The gene for red hair is recessive to the gene for black hair. Okay, red hair gene is recessive. That means black hair gene is dominant. What is the color of a person who got genes from a father, from a mother with black hair and father with a red hair? Okay, so you can quickly, just by looking at the question, you can tell the answer. But what I want is this, you have to practice this kind of workout. Okay, just which is a recessive here, red hair, which is a dominant hair here, black hair. So for black hair, since it is dominant, capital B you write. For red hair, small b you write. The same type of workout you can do and give the answer. Right? So that's all about the monohybrid cross. In the next video, let us discuss about the dihybrid cross. So far you have learnt is the study of only one contrasting character, isn't it? How this character has passed from parental generation to F1 generation, again from F1 to F2 generation. You studied about only one character, like height, only one character. Now we take 2 characters together and study the heredity. Okay, that is what we mean by dihybrid cross. We will discuss in the next video. Till then, revise the chapter. Very, very important. Okay, so carefully, slowly analyze the concept and note it down every point, work it out and become perfect with the concept. See you in the next class. Thank you.